My advice to you is not to give up. Keep learning. Keep turning over those rocks. Don't quit. I did this intro with Dan Odom. Shout out Dan Odom, Western Bank in Lubbock, Texas.
You're telling me in almost a year we haven't got our new intro?
Handling all of your banking needs, Western Bank. Shout out Chris Koch, another listener.
Chris Koch?
Yeah, he's a banker at Western Bank. He listens.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, Chris.
And Dan, you said Dan Odom?
Dan Odom, he's a CEO.
Have I met Dan? I've met him.
He's a curly haired man.
I've met quite a few people over at Western Bank.
Yeah, he's a curly. Well, we owe him our life. So on collateral, I just wrote Filemon Zamora. Y'all could have him.
I know. You're like, just tell me to sign here.
Yeah.
You need my social security number?
Yeah, here you go.
What are we doing? Sure, just sign here.
Yeah, let's go. Today on Business Under Fire, we, I guess we've been doing this for about 30-something episodes now. And I have been, a lot of people would say, well, why don't you get interviewed, Tommy? Why don't you get interviewed, Tommy? I said, well, nobody really wants to hear from me. And the listeners that reach out have said they wanted to hear from me a few times. They're like, oh, that's cool. So if you're a listener and you hear our Business Under Fire and you do listen, shoot me a text and say, hey, what's up? Because I really do appreciate it. And it has had quite a reach and done some pretty wild things. And that's why we originally started. If you remember way back in, was it January?
I think you came up with this idea. So it's almost been a year, if I remember correctly. So roughly late November, definitely December of 2024, you just hit me like, hey, we're going to do a podcast. I'm like, okay, Tommy. And then come late December, January, we're building out the studio. So it went quick. So it's almost been a year.
Well, I wanted to do a podcast for 3 reasons. If you look back to why we were doing it, number one was to really see what a podcast would do, what kind of reach the podcast would go to, and who would listen, if we would get any business deals. And so I want to go through some of the business deals that we've done or what the podcast has done. Number 2 was, and I had skipped this the entire time, was if somebody wanted, to sell a restaurant or a business and let us look at that transaction, that I wanted to look at some of their businesses. And while that this year might not have been the best time to look at a business, it's kind of like we tell all the entrepreneurs here, the best time to start your own business is when it feels right, So I did want to look at a couple business deals, and I have looked at 1 or 2, but nothing really in depth, and nothing has come out of the podcast with looking at a business. And then number 3 on the podcast that, again, I never mentioned, I haven't been doing my part on, was seeing if people wanted business coaching. And I think we mentioned that on a couple of the first episodes. And we actually got a few people to come in here and meet up, and they paid me for advice. And I don't know if that makes me a professional business coach or not. And the way I look at it is that when you're doing what I'm doing or we're doing, is it took steps to get here. And if somebody's looking for advice and they haven't even started a business, I am fit to give them advice. If they are doing $500,000 a year, I'm fit to give them advice. If they're doing 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, then I'm fit to give them advice, which they call that imposter syndrome, because I tell everybody still today when they ask what I do, I say, well, I'm just a lawn guy. And it's how I get out of a lot of conversations. And it works well. Just nobody, like at the poker table last weekend, like, so what do you do? I'm like, I mow grass. Well, they just leave you alone.
People don't want to, it's not interesting enough for follow-up questions.
No.
You're like, okay, you mow lawns, who cares, whatever. You're like,
yeah,
a peasant.
Yeah. And I'm fine with that. I have no problems with driving my old '07 Dodge Ram with 323,000 miles. And
let me ask, why is it that you're okay with flying under the radar? Like, what is it about? Because clearly you have been, in your own right, very successful. Like I said, I know we're going to get into like the origin story of Tommy Bonner and how you've gotten to Bonner Enterprise. But like, why, like, obviously you have some very eccentric individuals who are successful and like to flaunt their success in the numerous ways. You don't. Like, we drove back from Lubbock this past week in your '07 Dodge and just cruising with not a care in the world. And why is that? Why do you just choose? Because
to drive my 2011 Kia.
Well, that too. That is a sexy hot rod right there in Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah, I have a 6-speed 2011 Kia that's pretty sweet.
It is a nice car.
Like
under the radar, like what is it?
I guess if we're being honest, I really just don't feel like I belong in any type of eccentric upper class anything. I mean, for those that don't know, I was born in, single family, mom on welfare. And we went to a really affluent high school. And I've seen stuff and I've had a bunch of things. And, that's kind of the question that I had asked a lot of people on Business Under Fire, like, what does success look like to you? And we've had people on here that were extremely successful, hundreds of millions of dollars a year, hundreds of employees. And, none of them said, I want to go drive my Lamborghini around, my Ferrari, this and that. And I just don't. I am actually getting rid of a vehicle tomorrow that I have because I was embarrassed to drive it. So I have a Porsche Cayenne and I just, man, it broke down a lot. And
you just got it.
I know, but it's just, I can't pull up to a house to bid a construction job in that thing. And
so do you think that's what it is? It's like the potential perception of what potential clients are gonna judge you based on you pulling up in a Porsche versus you pulling up in a blue collar vehicle, your Dodge Ram? Or is it just like, I don't care to impress anybody?
If I had enough money for the nicest private jet you could buy, I'd jump on that thing in a heartbeat.
Right, but you don't have to. You can park it in your hangar after you're done flying.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like, do you think is it the potential perception of like, whoa, this guy's highfalutin?
Yeah, I don't want that at all.
Or this guy's like, oh shit, this guy's a blue collar guy and.
Yeah, I don't want that at all. I want people to know that if I am the guy that if you need plants installed at your house and my guys are not getting it done, I'll jump in there and install the plants. No problem. All sweaty all day, rock work, whatever it is, I'll do it. So I don't fit with the wearing any type of suit. I hate wearing suits. I hate wearing ties. I wish I could dress nice. My neighbor in Lubbock has a very nice clothing store called HG Thrash, and I wish I could wear that stuff, but that's just not me.
Well, I don't know. This is a very eccentric shirt you have on. I'm pretty jealous.
Well, this shirt was made by our buddy Javier Villarreal. No, not Javier. Javier, was that two Javier Villarreals?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. It's Javier. I have to look on my Facebook, but we're on Face Trash Live. But yeah, the food whore, the Guayabera King, he makes these, and this is Business Under Fire, and it's kind of a fiery Dia de los Muertos shirt.
I like it.
And so there are things that I splurge on, and these shirts and clothes, but not suits, are one of them. And I think that's going through with everybody that we had on here, which I need to go grab my notes from the other table so I can go through all those folks we have. But a lot of people, the reason that they are entrepreneurs and work for themselves is the freedom to do what they want, to buy the clothes they want, to hang out with their families. And so I think that's why I do what I do.
You had a Porsche.
Everybody should have one.
A BMW.
Yeah.
Now you have another Porsche. So is it just like, okay, you had it, it's not that big a deal? It's like,
I think this goes to being a kid. Anytime that I wanted something, I would go get it. And so if it was a BMX bike, a Diamondback, I go get it. If it was a stereo system in your house, I would go get it because my mom wasn't going to buy it for me. And so that's, that's kind of why I believe people work for themselves, is because they want to go get it, whatever that may be. And the only way, not the only way, but a large percentage of the only way that you're going to go get everything you want in life is working for yourself. And there's a point at which you don't need, there's great jobs that make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $150,000. Those guys can pretty much go get whatever they want. But I want more, and I want more for my kids. I've switched to wanting more for employees and wanting them to be successful. And that's a whole another story about that we told at our meeting at BierHaus, about how the BierHaus employees up in Lubbock need to act right, because the people coming after them have a opportunity through BierHaus to pay for school, buy new cars, put food on their table, pay rent. And so that's what business is starting to mean to me. And I picked that up from my last guest. I had seen that and noticed it and felt it. But my last guest, Trey Pounds, really put it out there that like, this is so much bigger than him, that it's about his people that are driving this now. And I think that's pretty neat to see.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I don't know if you would agree or are on the same page with me. I think for me, having that financial freedom and being able to, within reason, purchase and get things that I wanted, but like, I don't, now that I can get some of these things, I don't particularly care anymore.
Yeah.
Now for me, it's more time and experience with those that I care about. And that's what I appreciate, that I can, the flexibility now that I can spend that time and have those experiences with those I care about, and not so much fancy material things.
But it takes getting them and achieving that to start realizing like, this object that I was working for does not make me happy.
100%.
Yesterday, I got to run around with Lando. My son, I've been busy as heck the past couple weekends, and they have stuff. He'll kill me if I say he's in the Nutcracker and dancing.
School play?
No, mom. Yeah, because my beautiful ex-wife, which today would have been our 18th anniversary.
Congratulations.
She asked if I was going to send her flowers. I would send her flowers. She deserves them.
Hi, Mariah.
She's a great mom. But I spent X amount of hours yesterday, 5, 6, 7 hours at Lando yesterday. And that was more important than anything I've ever bought. But I think in our human behavior, we have wants on things, on an object, and we have to get it to realize, oh shit, we got it, and this doesn't mean anything.
No, exactly. And I've seen it. And for those who don't know, I don't know how much you've talked about Landon, your son, your oldest son. Like the times that we've been down in Port Aransas, we go to the beach, like you and him go fishing and just hanging out. Like seeing that is like, I would imagine is priceless.
Yeah,
you know,
it
spending
is.
time with your kids, but in that particular time with Landon and just like him just enjoying it,
Yeah.
talking shit, going out there fishing and just having a good old time and spending time with father and son, which is awesome. So I think I agree that you have to, like, there has to be that carrot. You have to chase it, even though once you attain it, you're like, that's not as satisfying, or it's just like, okay, I got it. What's next, or what's more important?
Well, that, today, if people don't know, we're going to talk about how I started, where I came from. I probably jump all over the place. It maybe bust out an hour and a half. We never know. It's 7:50 tonight. We worked all day long and we're up here, which I think I've done a couple podcasts at night, and they're actually a lot of fun because you're really just wound down. But what we're talking about here is how, there was always something that I wanted that I would go get. And as we've been talking to people that have wanted to work for themselves, but they haven't. And a lot of these people on the podcast, I said, well, how long did it take you to actually make the jump? And they'd say, oh, I was thinking about it for 5 years or 7 years. And I wasn't thinking about it very long because I DBA'd my first lawn business when I was 19. And I was always chasing something. But when you start a business, I started a lawn business. So when you start your lawn business, you've got to chase, number one, a lawnmower. You got to buy a lawnmower. And how are you going to buy a 2 or 3, 4, nowadays, $10, $12, $15,000 lawnmower? And I have been chasing things since I was a kid, the BMX bike, the stereo, the knives, all kinds of stuff. Well, then you need a weed eater. Well, you got to mow grass to get the weed eater. Then you need a backpack blower because you're not going to use a handheld blower. So I always just kept chasing those goals. Well, eventually you need a truck because I was mowing out of the back of an Acura Integra. And so you got to buy a truck, and then you need a trailer. And so this just kept going and going and going. And that's really where all of this started, was needing all those things. And then you see another lawn guy, and you're like, damn, that guy's got an F-350. I need an F-350.
Well, can I deviate here for just a second, and ask why lawn care? Like, what drew you to start lawn care and to hitch your wagon to, like, okay, this is a business that I'm gonna go all in on and see where it goes? Like, what was it about?
I really don't know the answer to that, besides it was easy to scroll through the newspaper and get a job mowing grass, because I mowed grass for a couple people, and it was, when you mow the yard, it's instant gratification. Like, you mow it, it looks like crap, and then you go weed eat it, and you're like, that looks good. Then you go over the top and hit it with the weed eater to make sure nothing's sticking up. And you leave Miss Jones's yard, and she comes out, she's like, that looks really good. So I always took pride in doing a quality job at the lawn maintenance business and landscaping business. And then a lady years later, I tell people the only real talent I have is landscaping and doing artwork outside. In Queen Anne, she goes, Tommy, you just have an eye for the outdoors. And you can look at the restaurants that we've done and the landscape jobs that we've done. You can look outside this podcast studio. I have a fake flower bed that actually looks real. And, that's my talent, is the outside. I listen to what people want. I walk around the property. I get to feel it. I see it. And then it all comes together on why we need a path here and stepping stones here and why the rock looks good here. And I just really enjoy building the outdoors for good customers. And nowadays we don't have too many shitty customers, because I tell them right up front, if you're going to be a shitty customer, I'd rather sit at BierHaus and drink a beer and make money than deal with you. Yeah. So
no, I 100% would have to agree. And I think I probably mentioned it the last time we spoke, as to your vision and how you can see things, and how BierHaus, the patio at BierHaus is probably still nothing in Lubbock quite like it. Certainly Miguel's. There is not a patio
there's not
like Miguel's. So it's extremely unique.
Yeah.
And you can see that landscape and design where, again, I last time we spoke, like, I saw just a vacant building, but I'm sure in your mind you're like, you saw what it could be and ultimately turned it into what it is.
Well, those patios at BierHaus, we extended that patio, and it's 45 feet by 15 is what we extended it. And I knew that you could break up 15 by 15 is the minimum seating area. So that's why there's a stage, and then there's swings, and then there's the BierHaus chair, because that fits and you see it. And then you step back a little bit, and we took double that amount space with the other seating area, and then the ring on a string. All those are unique little seating spaces on one patio. And then we let all the knuckleheads in college that break everything every weekend and make us fix everything, they taught us how to build the patio bulletproof. So if you notice, we never have to fix shit on the Miguel's patio. Never.
No. I mean, I think there should be some maintenance, but big picture, no, absolutely not.
And I learned that from BierHaus. I said, all right, if these little SOBs are going to break my shit every weekend, I'm going to build these bad boys bulletproof. And if you look at one thing that the Miguel's patio, if you have not seen Miguel's patio in Lubbock, go on Instagram and look at the pictures, and go look at Miguel's in Lubbock on the inside. It is a literal work of art. We actually had artists hand paint the entire outside of the building, the entire inside of the building, and it's just stunning. It's stunning. But one of the things I really like at Miguel's is the outside booths. I was laying in bed at God knows what time, and I said, I'm going to build actual restaurant booths out of 3,000 pound blocks. And so each restaurant booth is built out of these limestone blocks that the total booth weighs about 25,000 pounds. And they're badass. And we lined them up. I had no clue how they were going to fit there, but I did the math in my head. I'm like, and man, they came together perfect.
They're beautiful. And again, you have that vision with obviously your background in landscaping to carry it over into this restaurant business and patio and see okay, this is something that Lubbock just doesn't have. I don't know why.
Well, you can't get a patio like mine unless I build it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But even then, there just isn't something like that, even though the summers are nice, the humidity's low there in Lubbock, and once the sun goes down, it's extremely pleasant.
Yeah.
But there just isn't something like BierHaus or Miguel's, and I think that's the allure, and that's what people really like, the vibe of both, and they've become extremely popular with the college kids.
They're really, you look at these restaurants and people are like, dude, y'all are making money hand over fist, blah, blah. That's kind of part of one of the things I wanted to get in today was the struggle of what it actually takes to build these things. And, on gross revenue, those restaurants, they're $3 million a year restaurants. They do make a fortune. But to get through with, the insurance and the mortgage and this and that, all these people have sat across from me at the table, they all have the same story. It's a grind. It's a beating. It's never there's never been a time in our years of going that was we're just raking in money. And it's always because we've been focused on the next thing, and to do what we've done in the past few years, holy moly, we stuck our necks out there big time.
And it has been, and that's what I've learned, where it's just it's so much more. There is so many details that go into it. Like you said, insurance, taxes, sales tax, liquor tax. Do we have enough inventory? Do we have straws? Do we have napkins? Do we have toilet paper? Did somebody call in sick?
Shit.
Did somebody quit? Did somebody steal something? And it's always something. Some college kid broke the toilet, broke the sink, and it's always something. So it never is. It's rarely, I don't know if you can agree or not, it's rarely ever been smooth sailing where it's just like.
It is most definitely not smooth sailing. And, you know, we did beer. I had a bar before in a little town called Marion, but the college kids weren't. They're like the Tasmanian devil on Adderall. So but I didn't know the difference because we opened it and it was like, whatever, this is it. But then I went down and we bought Seafood and Spaghetti Works and we opened that. And I told this story earlier. Seafood and Spaghetti Works is a fast casual restaurant. And they had a 2-hour wait. It slammed. And I'm going, this is it. This is all. This is all there is to a sit-down restaurant. Y'all are stressed out. Come to Lubbock. Let me throw in some Tasmanian devils at the bar and the food and this and if there's fights. And so, the sit-down restaurants compared to the college bar is night and day. And frankly, I'm getting tired of the college bar. And, we'll see what happens with that and which way that's pointed. Right now, we're running them and operating them. But man, it's a pain in the ass. If somebody's got some millions, yeah, sure, throw it at me. But who knows what'll happen with it? But right now, we're operating it and keep growing. Yeah,
it's been definitely eye opening. Like I said, I don't know if we spoke about it, but I recently retired back in January, so now I'm in it.
You've been here for a year now.
Yeah, a year. So I left the department on September 26th of 2024 and officially retired in January of 2025. So I've been splitting my time up in Lubbock and then certainly spent most of the spring and summer down in Port A.
Yeah, tell everybody how easy your job is.
It was eye-opening to say the least. Again, I think it's just so many things that I did not realize that went into a business, just the simple things like, do we have enough soda syrup? We ran out of soda syrup, or somebody didn't clean the restrooms, or somebody showed up late.
How does that make you feel with the people that bitch and moan on Facebook now if a restaurant doesn't have something? Like, I mean, it's so much.
I always had a respect for people that worked in the service industry. But once actually doing it where it's just like, hey, somebody called in sick, you're in. Yeah. Like, oh, crap, what do I do? How do I work this POS and order and being on your feet and running food, bussing tables? I was like, my perspective has changed significantly, and my respect has increased even more, where it's just like there's some people out there hustling and working and providing great service, and I would hope people have at least a general understanding, but man, like I hope that people can take a step back, especially down in Port Aransas. Like I said, we have a small kitchen, we pump out good food, and sometimes we get backed up. Like I said, I would love to, put out orders in 20 minutes, but sometimes that's just not the case.
There's no way.
It's just like, and I would like to say sometimes, you get that human reaction where it's just like, hey, like you can leave and go eat at Whataburger and you're still gonna have to wait in line for 40 minutes, or you can wait 40 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it is here, and you're gonna get good food and you're gonna get a much better atmosphere, and it's gonna be great. But it certainly opened my eyes to it's always something.
It doesn't stop.
You can never, like, you have to do a liquor order. You run out of liquor, you run out of beer. It's like, okay, Monday's our liquor order, Tuesday's our beer order, Thursday's our food order. Well, we're going to have a big weekend, so we got to order food again and more liquor. So it's just, we have napkins, we need straws, we need towels, and it's just constant. We need to empty the grease trap. And it's always something, and you just got to be flexible. And it's just, I get a call, I pull into work, you're like, hey, the grease trap's overflowing. What are we going to do? I'm like, shit, hold on, let me get on Facebook Marketplace. This guy's selling 50-gallon drums. Like,
I wonder if anybody actually has restaurants that just run smooth and they don't have to think about shit. I can't see it.
I would have to imagine it's something, especially you're dealing with humans. So people, and especially down in Port Aransas, love our employees. They've been great, but we're all human. We've all been there. It's like, you party too hard one night and you're like, ugh, can't make it to work.
They do that a lot in Port A.
They do that a lot in Port A.
Man, we take the college students down. We have a beer house down in Port Aransas, which is a college, or is a coastal tourist town down in Texas. And it's beautiful, but all there is to do there is drink, stay out late, party, go to the beach. And we take these college kids down there for the summer, and we put them in this big ass house, and they take full advantage of their summer down there. And man, they get rode hard and put up wet. And it's self-induced. But what else is self-induced is when you show up to work in Port A for 100 days out of the year, it's busy. There is no mercy. And they just keep doing it to themselves.
They do. And like I said, I appreciate what they do. They come out and they hustle. Obviously, there are those moments where they don't show up. But when they do, they work and they make a good living. They work. Sometimes we have employees that will jump in the back of a golf cart and take a header. And I get a call in the morning. I'm like, hey, one of the employees is at the hospital. I'm like,
ding dong, Logan.
What happened? So I got to go visit Logan in the hospital. Or who was it? Ashley, I think, had a second job and she jumped off the bar and twisted her ankle, and I got to take her to the emergency room. So it's always something. Like, it's never like
smooth sailing.
Yeah, it's never smooth sailing. It's never calm waters. It's always something.
Yeah, go back so we can tell the listeners what's been going on with Mr. Bonner. And while we're yapping about that, if anybody does have any people that own a business, entrepreneurs, successful folks, I am asking you at this time. I committed to doing 52 of these episodes. I'm at 30 something, and I probably could have picked up the phone a little bit sooner, but I'm about out of guests. So if you know anybody that wants to do a podcast, it has been wonderful. One of the benefits of this podcast for these people is we have AI clips that come out, and I'm not pushing very hard. There's a lot of things that I could have done better on this podcast, and one would be cutting better clips for the guests, but that costs time. It takes money. I don't use the computer much, but the people that have paid for clips on here have gotten some really solid gold. Javier Villarreal had a analogy of meeting people. Some people are storms, other people are the sun. You never know who you're going to meet, so keep an open mind. That was gold. Then that was like 2 episodes ago. Trey Pounds said something that was just a lot of the folks on the podcast with no prompting, no thinking, just relaxing, have come up with a lot of neat things. I'm looking at notes from Carrie Gutierrez, who was a blast. And, thank everybody I would like to thank everybody that has taken time out of their day. Some people flew in for hours, or, other people drove hours to come be on the podcast. And have been blown away by them even wanting to come do this. And I just appreciate each and every one of them. And the podcast, we said, well, what's the podcast going to do? Well, it put me in rooms with bigger people. It put me at the table. Like Coach Bert's podcast is called The Big Table. And I got to sit down and pick these people's brain for an hour and a half about what they do and hear their stories. And that's how Business Under Fire came about. Is when I was a kid and growing up, I would always ask people, well, how do you do that? You're an electrician. Well, how do you get work? What do you do? And I would just ask and ask. So Business Under Fire for me in the interviewing process, I had never interviewed anybody. I'm a talker. I don't shut up. James Klutz says I talk enough for everybody because he doesn't talk. But this has taught me to ask those questions and to sit there and listen. And then I get to go eat with these people at Burnt Bean and show them that place and Seguin. And we got to have Ernest Cervantes on here. They had just won Best Barbecue Joint in Texas Monthly. And I was friends with Ernest. I've been friends with him for probably about 4 years now. And so, yes, I know him, but to get him on his day off to come and tell his story of how he became the Pope of barbecue and the number one barbecue dude in Texas. These guys are celebrities. And to have him on here, just my honor. And I get to listen to him talk when I go drop off donuts there in the mornings and hang out with them. And I get to hear Ernest. He doesn't put on a show for me. He's not pretending. He pours into me, just Ernest, about his dealings with business that day and the shit he's dealing with. And then he listens to my shit. And so I took notes on this for a while. And dude, his podcast was just genuine feelings, information, no bullshit. It was really good. And so I got to do that with, Carrie Gutierrez with Northern Lattes, Brian Strange with Don Strange Catering. I get to listen to those guys, and Don Strange Catering has been around forever. And so, dude, the pleasure is all mine to be able to sit there and hear these guys' story. Ian Acosta, that had just started Tip Top Cleaners. He'd been at this for 3 weeks when I met him, and he saw a reel on my podcast, and he reached out to me on Instagram. I was the first person. He goes, dude, I want to do a podcast. And they talk about boldness of being an entrepreneur. You've got to be bold. You got to ask questions. You've got to go out and seek. You can't just sit back. And Ian Acosta was bold. He reached out. He sent me a message and said, hey, I want to be on your podcast. And Ryan Thompson, Ryan the Lion, he was a successful lawyer, but he was bold. And he reached out to one of the best law firms in the country. And that's what started his career. And that's part of why we're here as well, is because if anybody's listening that doesn't want to do something or is nervous or is scared, why? Be bold. Go out and do it. Coach Bert likes to say, some will, some won't. So what? And anytime I'm going to something where I'm not exactly comfortable on what I want to say or what I want to deliver, I think, you know what? Some will. Some people will. They're going to want what you want. Some people won't. They're not going to be interested. But so fucking what? Move on. Any situation that you've had in life where your feelings were getting in the way of you moving to another position, once it's done, it doesn't fucking matter. So ask. If you want to start a business or you have an idea that you want to go ask somebody a proposition, pick up the fucking phone and call them. And a good example of that I had talked about earlier on was building airplane hangars here at Huber Air Park. I was mowing the grass here because I mowed a few hangars, and I reached out to the people that own the lots. I said, hey, I don't know you, but you've had this lot here for a long time. I'd like to buy it from you. But I'm going to list it and find a buyer first. But my whole goal is to build a hangar here. And since we started, I've done that. I'm about 2 weeks away from finishing both of these hangars. And that was why would these people let me get their hangar? And we had lots of, stumbling blocks along the way with the 2 hangars. And during that process, I said, shit, why don't I buy the whole airport? And I put a whole deal together to buy the whole airport. And that's where I got one of the biggest screwings of my whole life. And it was a lesson. I was going in with an investor. I didn't want him in it anymore. Well, he snuck the whole deal out from under me. So he's building, airplane hangars right in my back door. But I learned a lesson from it. And the lesson from that, boys and girls, is if you have a project or a property, put it under contract so you cannot get snaked on it. And it was a kick in the butt, but most people would sit there and it did hurt, and it still hurts a little bit. But I thought, hey, that project was going to take 3 years anyway. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to work on something else that I can make this much money on in the next 3 years. And last week I was at a airport meeting in Kerrville, Texas, with their master plan, their management, all of them talking to them about building airplane hangars in Kerrville. And then I was out and I'm on the meeting for building airplane hangars in Port Aransas, Texas. And who was at the meeting in Kerrville? The Department of Public Safety. They have a lot to do with airports. They said, hey, these people need hangars. These people need hangars. These people need hangars. So instead of sitting there and dwelling on my buddy that screwed me, which I hope like hell he loses his ass, and he has a fucking hard time doing that, and I bet he will, but good luck to him, as Coach would say. Thank you. I owe you. I hope he does, but I'm going after way bigger things than Seguin could produce for me. So that's a lesson in being an entrepreneur. It's like, dude, I could have sulked for months, but fuck that. I look for other opportunities and I go to them and I see them through to their conclusion. And that could be buying a 0-turn lawnmower. I see it through to its conclusion. I want it. I need it. It might make more money for the business. I figure out how the fuck I'm going to get $10,000. And I see it through. And these airplane hangars, I got a great investor guy out of Lubbock. I have learned a lot just on these 2 hangars. And when I go to the other ones in another city, I'm going to be that much better at building these hangars and seeing them through. And as sure as I sit here today and speak it onto this podcast, you could bet your ass I'm going to be building airplane hangars in different cities in Texas and maybe the U.S. because I like it.
Let me ask you this. I don't know if we've ever touched on it, even outside of this podcast, but where does this tenacity and desire to keep hustling and keep going, and like, because you're a jack of all trades. Like, you call yourself a fucking lawn boy, but
yeah,
motherfucker, you have your hand in a ton of shit. Like we're like, as a 19-year-old or whenever you decided I'm gonna go into business for myself, like what was the?
I think some people just have a fire in them, and it's always climbing that ladder. It's always the next thing. But I'm humble on what I know, and I was kind of writing it down. But if you want to know what I know, I'm an expert in the lawn and landscaping business. I'm an expert outside. I'm an expert in construction. I'm an expert in real estate. And that comes from falling on your face a lot. We make mistakes. I have a real estate. I have a house right now that I'm flipping. I know that I'm running out of my own work. For those that don't know, I have Thomas Bonner Enterprises, which is my own, I call my side hustle. My side hustle probably employs 20 people, you know, subcontractors, people that work for us. And it's always doing shit. And so instead of going, I need a job, it's, I need a project. And my project, you know, Nate Sheldon was on the podcast. He's buying houses, flipping them, and I see how he's buying them. I see what they're going for. You can see what the comps are. I'm going, hey, this is a good opportunity. Let me stick a little bit of money into this deal. We'll go in and fix it up. And it's a, you know, it could be a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month project, but that's another key to success that you see people on this podcast have. When we're kids, we worry about today, right? What shirt are we wearing today? What are we wearing tomorrow? If we're really thinking ahead, we're going to have our clothes set out for tomorrow. But in business, I'm 10 years ahead. So I'm forecasting out 10 years. I'm forecasting out next week. I'm forecasting out next month, next year, 3 years from now. I have it all, and I don't have spreadsheets. I don't have shit written down. You know, I don't use a computer, but I'm always thinking about what are we going to do to turn a dollar in the future to make a play. And right now, my play started about 2 years ago, and that's to pay off all of these damn restaurants that, you know, looking at the outside, they're like, oh, you fucking kicking ass. You're doing this. Dude, we've had our nose above water. You don't build $2 and $3 million restaurants in 3 years by not getting by the skin of your freaking teeth. And did we stretch out too far? Probably got pretty fucking close to it. But at the same time, I'm the dude that sits here and says, if I would have stretched out that much further, if I would have reached that much further years ago, I'd be this much further ahead now. And so I always say, dude, go for it. Stick whatever you want way out there. And I stuck my fucking neck out the past 3 years. And guess what? It's all coming together where it's really starting to make sense. And in about another year, 2 years, 3 years, I'm like, fucking A, that was worth it. You'll know by the shiny new airplane. He did pretty good. He got rid of the Baron.
There'll be signs.
Yeah, there'll be signs. It won't be any of my cars. The Kia might have some new tires on it. But really, you know, we're talking about if we're talking about airplanes, the Baron is a great airplane that gets you around Texas, and mine does everything you want. And the step up from that is so much more that we're gonna have to have a paid off restaurant to pay for a King Air 90. We're gonna have a reason to take that thing places, and it's got to make monetary sense to be cruising that shiny airplane. And you know what? If I get it, great. If I don't, I'm pretty happy with what I got, but I do like nice airplanes.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I think that's hopefully we can start. Definitely, we're definitely getting ahead, and it certainly has been an experience to say the least. And I think certainly, like we had our meeting last week with our employees, and you very clearly pointed out, he's like, y'all, you think like we're swimming in cash, like we ain't Scrooge McDuck, like we've reinvested all of it into just expanding to the point where
all of it,
it's gotten so close to like
I mean, we've had to take loans for the winter, and that's a reality of business. And in 2 years we had to take crazy loans to get through the winter, and guess what? We didn't last year, and we're not going to have to this year. And next year we are going to be so far ahead. Like, I'm not worried about the winter this year at all. And that's coming from being a lawn boy where I'm worried about the winter every year. I'm ingrained it's ingrained in my brain.
And for those that don't know, so obviously we have restaurants up in Lubbock, Texas. We have restaurants down in Port Aransas, Texas. And unfortunately, we clearly were not looking so far ahead that this was going to be an issue.
They're seasonal businesses.
They are seasonal. So once school starts in Port Aransas,
I know the dates by the number.
Drops off. Like
that's called Labor Day.
Yeah, Labor Day.
Labor Day, the party's over. And, thank God Port A, actually this October, the guy who tells me what the occupancy is, everything's 100% occupied the next few weekends in October. So October's looking good in Port Aransas. But November, dude, the doors are shut. And statistically, they're shut in September. But 3 months ago, got into Seafood and Spaghetti Works, and I've been training there and working with these people. We cranked up the marketing, and I don't ever pat myself on the back, but that's a talent I have, is to turn on action. And we've turned it on in Port Aransas right now. And our last month was fantastic. And our month in October is looking like it's going to be fantastic. And we had some hiccups at BierHaus in Lubbock. We got in there a couple weeks ago. And those employees know I'm breathing down their neck right now. They know it.
But to go with that, though, like I said, you said it's seasonal. So come December 15th.
December 15th, graduation.
Graduate, and it's just dead.
It goes from hundreds of thousands a month to maybe, if you're lucky, 100,000 a month.
And so we have on opposite ends of the state businesses that pretty much simultaneously.
Opposite ends of the second largest state in the United States.
Yeah.
So the distance between Port Aransas and Amarillo is what? 11 hours? It's about 11 hours driving.
So, yeah, at least, yeah.
And we all do it. Zamora does it. I do it. Daniel does it. And we do it like it's nothing.
Yeah, I put 40,000 miles in less than a year on my truck.
And people are like, you drive there? I go, well, if I paid you $1 million a year, would you drive there? They're like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah. You're like, okay, dumbass, that's why I drive there.
Well, I mean, I think it's, for me, and certainly for you and Daniel as well, it's just like, nobody's going to care about these businesses as much as we do. We have some great employees, and they do care, but ultimately, nobody's going to really care as much as we do. So if that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do. Like I said, currently we're building a coffee shop in Amarillo, and I've never done contracting, and I am
clearly
we're not done yet.
I have Zamora finishing up Paint Rock Coffee, and oh man, he just doesn't. Zamora don't have a clue, but he's learning.
I'm fumbling.
He's learning, and it sucks, dude. With contractors, you have to stay on top of them like crazy. And it just, if you haven't come from that world, you just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So I thought like dealing with city government was going to be tough. Actually, that hasn't been too bad. But yeah, it's been contractors, one in particular, but
the plumber.
So
I don't know his name, or we'd shout him out, but don't use him in Amarillo.
Yeah.
He's holding us up like crazy, but
we actually got inspected. We're going to put drywall in this next week.
Thank you, baby Jesus.
So we're moving along, but nonetheless, like I said, obviously it's our asses on the line. So we care enough. So if we have to drive 11 hours, so be it. Like, I mean, I drove an oven from Lubbock to Port Aransas, turned back around, stayed home for a day, and drove back to Lubbock. And it is what it is. So
the drive doesn't even, dude, the drive is a drive. It's like, I got to go to Lubbock, you just get in the car and go. It's not even like it's not a road trip thing. It's not. And then we've built businesses on the damn road. We stop in Paint Rock. We see what's going on there. You talk to people in Paint Rock. It's always good to see them at the bank. The Pan people, Randy and Margie, their son James. Like, dude, I got to sit with Alyssa that worked at Miguel. She's staying in Paint Rock because she's doing school in San Angelo right now. So it's always just, it's not just a long car drive. There's shit there.
No, there is. But like for me, like I know you were keeping count there for a while, and I don't know what your number is now, and I don't even know what my number is now, but
which number?
number of miles and number of times, to be clear. But for me, it's like prior to this, I was confined to an office behind a keyboard, and it was work, and I enjoyed it, but there's something about the freedom of, I'm not on a particular timetable.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I know I have to be in Lubbock. I have some things to do. I'm going to hit the road, load up, and go. And as soon as you're out of the city and you're on some of these country roads, it's peaceful.
Yeah.
You got a podcast going on, and you're listening and you're learning and keeping up with what's going on outside of your bubble in the world, and global politics and local politics and whatnot. And the time flies.
Yeah.
And it's great. And I really have no complaints.
Except for your boss.
My boss is on me. Like, he's been pushing all kinds of stuff. Hurry up and get this and that, and I'll order this and that. And
Poor Zamora. I'm like, can't you multitask 19 things at once, dude? Where's the prickly pear lemonade?
I was about to bring that up, man.
Prickly pear lemonade. They put it in a burnt bean before you.
Wait, it was there way before you.
No, it wasn't. I told them, hey, y'all need to start working on this.
I'm not going to call anybody out.
Keep going on your questions. But now we're going to have prickly pear lemonade at Paint Rock Coffee and probably BierHaus, and have it like in a frozen slushy machine. It's going to be a killer.
We'll try it.
And if it doesn't work, who gives a shit? We'll do the next thing.
Well, like I said, we just rolled out for this new semester in football season, Ratorade.
Dude, that stuff is getting slung.
So Gator or Haterade is a concoction of drink that our third partner, Daniel, came up with. And became, ultimately he came up with the prickly pear, which is super popular at BierHaus. And now he came up with Haterade years ago, and we started slinging that at Miguel's, and that's super popular. And now this year he came up with Ratorade. He's a magician. Yeah.
He's good at it.
So we're moving along and changing things up. But again, to circle back to your origin story, like you started mowing lawns at 19. Like, again, you focused on that. You were gonna do it. So, like, tell us a bit more of like how it started and how it grew to ultimately what you had up until roughly 2016, 2017 when we decided to partner up.
Well, long story short, it grew from me with a push mower and a weed eater to about 65 employees. And obviously it takes time, but the lesson that I learned, and, just kind of by accident, and this is a very valuable lesson to anybody that wants to be seen, is the 3 rules of business are location, location, location. And I had, maybe 2 lawn trucks when I bought a property on I-35 in New Braunfels. And that property, I-35, is a huge interstate. We got a big ass sign. And then we started marketing. I was spending $5,000 to $7,000 a month in marketing while I was mowing grass. And, dude, there wasn't a person in New Braunfels that didn't know who Mile High Yard Works was. And it was pretty sweet. I mean, we did a good job. We picked up Green Hall. We mowed Rush Enterprises. We mowed Marketplace in New Braunfels. And we were picking up these properties. And my goal was to charge these people more money than they were paying. They would be like, well, and I'd tell them, it doesn't matter what you're paying. I'm going to provide the best lawn service you've ever had. My slogan was cut like clockwork, which means we don't miss. When we say we're going to be there on Wednesday, we're there on Wednesday. And I'll be damn if doing a really good job didn't pay dividends. And we were getting at one time anywhere from 3 to 7 new lawns a day in New Braunfels. And I had a guy named Chuck Berry that these leads would come in. He would take a sheet that I made, and he would run, he'd do the bid, boom, 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 write it down. Here's the new sheet. This goes on. I don't even know the software we're using, but I didn't have a software. We had to develop all that crap and pick up software and use it. And we would pick up these new customers. He would bid them, boom, go do it. And then I had Cisco helping me, which he was a buddy from the car business. And he would, take care of everything, make sure the guys were happy. And dude, the employees, talk about a challenge. The lawn business employees. If you're thinking about starting a lawn business or a business, skip the lawn business. And I tell you that because if you're smart enough and you have a hard enough work ethic to go be a plumber, you could pay plumbers 50, 60, 70, 80,000 a year. You can't pay a lawn guy that much money. These guys can't support a family. So if you're smart enough to start a HVAC company and you're going to work outside, you could pay those employees that. I rarely had employees buying new cars and new houses and new shit while I was doing lawns. But as soon as they were bartending and they were making, good money, they're buying cars, they're buying houses. And so the lawn business is a rough business because of what you can pay a lawn guy. I mean, you can't pay a dude $80,000 to mow grass. 3 guys in a truck getting $80,000, $240,000 a year. It just doesn't work. The math does not fly. So back to what you were saying. Yeah, we grew a lawn business in New Braunfels.
But just to be clear, I mean, there's a difference between lawn care and landscaping.
Oh yeah, we were doing full blown construction outside, decks, adding on the houses. If somebody wanted a pergola, doing that concrete work.
So your lawn care, obviously evolved into landscaping and just construction and just heavy equipment, and so it grew into an enterprise. Like this is not mom and pop anymore. This isn't like some 16-year-old rolling out a lawnmower and just taking care of a few lawns in the neighborhood. You're growing this massive enterprise business into what eventually spilled out of New Braunfels.
Well, it spilled out of New Braunfels, and then I got an opportunity to buy a nursery that we were landscaping for. I would go do the bid. They'd double the bid. Bam, I'd landscape it, and they'd get paid. I'd get paid. Everybody was happy. I walked into the nursery one day, and the lady goes, "Do you want to buy the nursery?" I'm 27 years old. And I said, "Ma'am, how the fuck am I going to do that?" She goes, and her name's Linda. She goes, "Well, we could owner finance part of it for you." And then I went to the bank in Marion, and Marion Bank financed that damn thing for me. It had some real estate connected to it. And Kelly Howes, who runs the bank, and Kathy Howes, they're married. They trusted me, and their daughter Connor worked at BierHaus until 4 months ago. And so we grew that nursery. We remodeled the whole thing, turned it into a beautiful place, and then built a bar there called the Beer Garden. Built a nice stage. We did that all in-house. Had, every act there. We had Parker McCollum, Co Wetzel, Corey Morrow, Kyle Park, Mickey and the Motor Cars, and kind of learned the bar business. And I couldn't have done that without Marshall Hogan, who was my partner that was running a bar in New Braunfels called the Poorhouse. And dude, that guy showed me, I mean, if you're going to learn the bar business, that dude is the best to learn. He's a magician. And that's kind of where I started. I had met Daniel Eisenhower, our partner that kind of is the magician in the kitchen and makes the drinks. That dude was flipping burgers at Beer Garden. He would come out on Friday and Saturday night on a little pit that I had and make burgers. He'd make ribs for $10 a plate. And so you look at Daniel like, dude, this dude owns a huge bar. He's this and that. The dude was flipping burgers for $10 a plate. I still have the light. I have an LED light still in the hangar that we had set up that he would make the burgers there. So, the overnight success, and it's the same with every one of these people. I'm looking at Martin Dinn's name from that came and did a podcast that owns several car dealerships now. which I heard he's rolling out and doing his own thing now. But that guy was just a car salesman. So the overnight success that you see all these people on, they're not overnight success.
No, it's not. Like I said, I remember when you did buy the nursery and you're like, hey, it cost me 25 cents for a plant, and I turn around and I sell it for 10, 50, whatever it was. You know, I'm just remembering rough numbers here.
Yeah.
And then I remember you had a limo that you were running out of there. Well, so like I said, you were, even then, this was what, 2013, 2014?
Yeah. Bought a limo so I could get drunk and drove around and partake in my drinking on the weekends and going to the rodeo and doing all the dumb shit. But I bought the limo just so I could get fucked up and get cruising around and be safe. And then I bought another limo because they were out rented, you know, so long. And I love the limo. It's great. You'd see those LED lights. You'd stumble over there all fucked up. Like, there's my ride home. And so am I proud of what I was doing back in the day and being an idiot and getting drunk? Nah, but I had a good fucking time doing it. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was fun. We got carted up to the casino in a Sprinter van this past weekend, and it was nice. But I don't drink anymore. I don't frown on anybody that does. I tell people, if you don't have a drinking problem, I'll be glad to help you get one at one of our establishments. So we don't discriminate around here. You do whatever you want. I don't give a shit. I get migraine headaches from drinking. I work 12, 15 hours a day. I did it. I would get up at 6:30 in the morning, be the first person in the office, landscape all day, run a bar, drink at night, get home at 2 and do it again. And I did that for years. And, you know, if you can do that kind of shit, eventually you're going to be successful, because you can't work that fucking hard and not be successful unless you're an idiot.
No, I definitely remember those times, and you were just kind of dabbling in so many different things. Like when you told me you bought the nursery, Colorado had just legalized weed. Yeah. And here I'm like, Tommy effing Bonner is gonna freaking grow weed.
That'd be cool.
You know, and clearly it went a completely different way, went into the bar business, and it went on from there. But I remember you telling me that before the nursery, you were doing Christmas lights.
Shit, we did a ton of those.
Like you said, like it was, like the numbers were crazy.
Yeah, we did. A guy that mowed grass for me said, hey, his name is Paul. I think he listens to the Paul podcast. He's from Louisiana. So he's like, hey, my name's Paul. I think you ought to do some Christmas lights. And so we did Christmas lights, and man, we killed it doing them. And then the next year we did them, and then I gave most of my lights. I don't even think I sold them to a dude that still does them today. But these are all opportunities. Like, the point of kind of what you're saying and why I've dabbled into so many things is I just want to see what happens. I see an opportunity and I see it through to see what it's like. Some people, you want to say you want to be sharp like a dagger and say, I only want to do Christmas lights. So could we do $5 million a year in Christmas lights? Without a doubt. But I like other things. Like, I got I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but it's probably blatantly obvious. And I like to see different shit. I like to see, what is the Christmas light business? What is the limo business? What is the lawn business? Can you make money doing it? And, you know, the answer is yes, but there's no straight answer on any of these things. Every day, just like you discussed with the restaurants, you've got to pivot. You've got to adapt. You can't just be stuck in your ways. There's no dead set answer on, you know, you do this, this, and this, and it works. Now, there are things that you can do that are proven to work. Just like our meeting at BierHaus last week with the employees. It is proven that if you pay attention to your employees, as opposed to not paying attention, and hold them accountable, shit gets better and your standards get met. And these people, even down in Port Aransas and BierHaus, know I'm going to be hovering over their neck and our standards are going to get met. So even while I do have this podcast and we do have 200 and something employees, our shit slips. when you juggle as many plates as we do, eventually something falls. But you also get these plates, i.e. Miguel's running really well. Port Aransas BierHaus running really well. Seafood and Spaghetti Works running really well. You get these things in your business running well, and you could take a little bit of attention off of them to focus on your problems. But sure as I say that, when you leave the attention, you got to go back and grease those wheels. So it is a tricky balance. And, you know, I'm looking at all these people that we had. We had Miss Wyman from Seguin Smiles on there. She's a dentist, and hearing her story of oiling the grease and listening to, you know, motivational tapes at the time to get out of her business to jump in. She was working for her sister and she jumped into a business. So the long and short of it is it takes a fucking lot to do this, and it's not easy, but none of these people that have sat across of this table have said it's easy, but they've all said it's worth it. And none of these people have lost their business. They've been close. They've gambled everything they fucking own. And I've gambled everything that I own. But over the span of this time, and when I'm retired at 55, which probably means buying and selling real estate, it'll all be worth it because of the freedom. And we're free now. I don't have to go to work tomorrow. I'm going to the ranch to shred all day long because that's my therapist. So I'm going to go shred at the ranch for 2 days. And you can't do that working a 9 to 5. Mm-mm. And that's part of this podcast. Like if you're thinking about jumping, go get your side hustle enough to where you can jump. And if you hear it now, go jump. It's worth it.
No, I absolutely agree. I've talked to former colleagues who are on the cusp of coming up on retirement, and I'm saying, like, one, go, but two, you got to have a plan. Like, there's got to be something that you're gonna move to, because if not, you're gonna have a lot of idle time. Yeah, and that's not good.
Hell no,
that's not good. So you're gonna still be young enough to keep doing something. So certainly, and there's that bonus of having that absolute freedom, which
doesn't retire mean to quit, which like in turn means to die. If something quit, it dies.
Yeah.
If you quit, you're done. And so retire, but go shine jewelry at the jewelry store.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Flip shit on Facebook Marketplace.
I think that's where it makes sense now, and I didn't understand it a couple years ago. Our good friend Jan Johnson, who's the mother of our very good friend who ultimately brought us together.
He won't let us park our trailer at his place in Vail.
Yeah,
we were
Stuart Johnson, who lives in Denver, Colorado, Golden, Colorado.
No, he's in Vail now. That snob.
Oh yes.
We were texting him on the way back from Lubbock, telling him that we're going to park our 30-foot travel trailer in his driveway in Vail, which I found out there's no trailer parks within 30 miles.
Yeah, he said the HOA won't allow it.
Sure, buddy.
Yeah,
sure.
Sounds like
HOA must be Heather in her middle name.
Hi, Heather. But his mother Jan remarried a lovely individual, Bob, and Bob worked until his final days, you know, and I never understood it. Like a very extremely highly successful individual, like, continue to work where I'm like, man, like, but I get it now. It's like, you got to keep going. You got to keep moving. Like, if you stop, you're like, you know, but with that work and success, obviously comes the flexibility and the freedom to, like, you know what? I don't have to go to work tomorrow. I can go down to the ranch, or I can, you know, take a trip to wherever, or whatever it is you want to do. So certainly, so like, to your point, like, if you're thinking about it, you got to jump in, and you're going to have pitfalls, and there's going to be struggles, and it's going to get tight, and it's going to, like, you're going to pull your hair out, you know, so it's.
But they don't quit. And that's what everybody across the table has said. It's like, don't quit. Don't quit. And there's been so many times, whether landscaping, lawn mowing, restaurants, bars, that I could have just gone, dude, it feels like the world is on my shoulders building these restaurants, which is not easy. Building hangars where you could just quit. It's just don't give up. I'm not smarter than anybody, but I have a lot more drive and no quit in me than most people.
And that's what I tell people when people ask about it. I was like, I've done next to nothing. It's like,
we weren't going to point that out today.
prickly pear lemonade. But when they asked, I was like, it's Tommy Bonner. Like, this guy is so tenacious. He just will not stop. He's a hustler. He just goes. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And I remember, like, during COVID, I know we talked about this last time. It's just, I thought for sure we're losing everything. Like, that
was crazy.
There's like, we're not recovering. Like, there's just, in my mind, I had like, it's done. There's like nothing we can do. Like, what can we do? We can get loans maybe and get through.
Yeah.
But what happens if this is extended for multiple years? Like, the unknown is like, fuck, like, we're losing this. And I got a call, and it's Tommy Bonner. It's like, hey, we're opening.
That's when I got my BierHaus license plate. Because they shut us down. But we had done so much for TABC. I mean, letting them do undercover stuff. Always nice to them. Like, sir, I was raised by a cop. My partner's a cop. We respect what you do. You can come in here and do whatever you want. And this guy looked at me like, this motherfucker is full of shit. And I was like, dude, Jose, whatever you want. Come in here anytime. I'm glad to have you here. And he's just like, as a cop, you hear that. Y'all guys are trained to not believe jack shit. And I just kept telling him for years. Well, when COVID happened, I called Jose. I said, Jose, dude, if there is any way that we can open, I have done this. He goes, Tommy, I'm calling my supervisor. His supervisor called his supervisor. They had a meeting, and we were the first bar that they called a restaurant in Lubbock to open. Like 10 days later. And that was when I got my custom BierHaus license plate, because I was so proud of BierHaus, so proud of all the work that we put in, because sometimes it's not easy dealing with law enforcement. Sometimes they're not exactly your friends while they're there.
They're assholes.
They have a job to do, but I respect their job. I really do. And it fucking paid off. They gave us the green light to be the first person to operate. And the people came out of the woodwork. They're like, what the fuck? This is a bar. This is that. This is that. And I'm like, come on in, put your name on the list and get in the door within 5 minutes, or I'm calling the next person. And we were cranking right after that.
No, it was awesome. Like I said, just that tenacity to like, hey,
we didn't give up.
What can I do? Who do I need to call? What, like, to make it as legal as possible?
Yeah.
And this is in the middle of COVID, shut down. We're in the middle of construction at Miguel's,
Sheesh.
which again, I thought
spending a fortune.
So I'm like, there's no way, like, we're gonna lose it. And like, you worked your magic, and the governor, helped out as well overall, and helped small businesses like ours, and that tenacity just kept us going. And there's lines out the door, I remember, and it's just like, this is crazy amazing.
Yeah.
And we were able to get through that absolute tough time where, unfortunately, I can only imagine how many small businesses did not make it through,
dude,
which is terrible.
Well, hindsight's 20/20, but man, that sucked. But like I tell everybody, what's the worst thing that could happen if I fail? I got to go mow grass. I like mowing grass.
You say that, and you still do it now.
I know. So
you've gone from mowing grass to landscaping to Christmas lights to a limo service to a nursery. Like, you're
lots of real estate too.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, you've grown this enterprise. Then you get into the bar business, and then it's a second bar.
Yeah.
And then it's a coffee shop, and then it's a bar restaurant down in Port. Like,
it's easy. Everybody could do it.
Like, I mean, you've built a small empire.
I built a business, and it's been an interesting thing because at first you can be like, hey, I'm here at the office, I'm here, or I'm at this restaurant when there's only one. Where are you at? Oh, I'll be there Wednesday. And now it's transitioned from being in the business to operating a business and working on a business and oiling everything that it takes to run and operate a business. But it's also listening to people like Dan Odom at Western the other day. They have a onboarding once a month. And I'm going, why don't we have an onboarding? We have to keep going to these meetings at BierHaus. I go, have any of y'all heard this before? No. Okay, well, once a month, everywhere, they need to hear stuff. So everything that happens that we're doing is shit that I learned from other people. And I go, you know what? That's a pretty good idea. We need to have an onboarding once a month. We need to have this training. We need to have that. And so it's just a learning process. I mean, there's no college course that you can learn or go to that will teach you how to run an organization with 200 people. It just doesn't happen. And
where'd you get your business degree?
My business degree out in the lawn. I went to a flight school called Embry-Riddle because I wanted to fly for a living, and stopped 2 classes short because there was statistics and accounting, and I was going to have to cheat in math to pass. So I just skipped. Then I went and signed up for school maybe 5 years ago. I was at BierHaus because I was around so many college kids. I'm like, shit, maybe I should finish. They wanted me to take 13 classes. So fuck, I guess I'm never going to finish college.
I mean, jokingly, obviously, going to that point, I mean, the thing is, you've been in the trenches per se, and you've trial and error have learned the ins and outs of running multiple businesses in multiple categories. It's just not lawn care. It's just not selling plants or laying down sod or putting down rock.
Sourcing plants from all over the United States. I could do that.
So, I mean, but like you've touched so many different industries.
Yeah.
So tell us how you've decided, like, I'm going to take a shot on the bar business. I'm going to take a shot on the label business.
It was all, what do they call it? Organic. I was mowing grass because it's an easy job. And then I just found these things. And then we put the bar at the nursery. So there's the bar business. Then I went up to Lubbock because the girlfriend, I got divorced at 37 and met a girl there. And there was a bar, that old Gardsky's building is just a shithole. And I looked on Broadway. I say, the worst I can do is 1.2 million. I had remodeled tons of shit. So I took that building and remodeled it. And now we're, and then Miguel's, another building, which that was massive. It's 16,000 square feet to remodel.
So then it wasn't like specifically, I'm going to go try that.
No.
It's just like, oh shit, like I need to go do that because I want to do this.
Or you see a shiny object and you chase it. What 25, 27, 30-year-old dude doesn't say, hey, I want to own a bar? And I was drunk all the fucking time. Why not? Give me a bar. And you know what the funny thing is I always wanted to do these things. Like I always wanted to drive limos, but nobody would hire me to drive limos. So I got, fuck it, I'll do it. I always wanted to bartend. Nobody hired me to bartend because you have to have experience. Okay, we'll open a bar. And so I always wanted to fly airplanes for a living. And now I get to fly airplanes for a living. And that's something that I'm going to pursue deeper and probably fly, $30 million private jets in the next few years. But that's like my passion. And my passion now is, I love business. I love seeing how stuff turns. But one of the things that I feel like I'm regretting is I want time with the kids, like a lot more time. But then you get with them and you're like playing on your phone. So it's like, am I missing a lot or am I not? I try to get them 2 or 3 days a week at least, or at least see them those times. And so I like to run around with them more on the weekends, but the business requires a lot. And, I usually get a couple weekends a month, and I could be better about it. But the thing is wherever you point the nose or wherever you focus, that's where you're going to get results. So if I'm making excuses about the time with the kids and I point where I need to be, then I get my time with the kids. And so everything we do is our own fault. So
you said that once you grew the landscaping business, you had roughly 20 employees. And now with, 7 businesses roughly that we co-own together, we have over 200 employees. Mm-hmm. What is the system that you've put in place to try to rope these people in and manage it, and how do you manage 200 employees over several different businesses? It's just not like you have an Amazon warehouse and you have 200 employees. And so,
well, that's another deal that has been hard for me as we grow to get away from, because I used to shake every single person's hand, know their name, know what they're doing, what they're up to, and talk to all of them. But you just can't be in that many places at once. So I still try, talk to everybody from the dishwasher to the CEO or the general managers. And I feel like the general managers and the management are key on how they treat employees. And, and that's the way business has been structured for years, but they've got to be good. And they have strong points and weak points as well. And so I try to blend other managers or shift leaders with, if somebody has a strong or a weak point, I try to get the other managers to fill in that gap so that they've got a good system working with those people that are underneath them, if that makes sense. And everybody has their strong points and weak points in business. So, and organizations. So you've got to be able to fill in all those so-called holes in the boat with other good people. And, it's a daily challenge.
So is there a one process to managing employees? Because I would imagine
employees are humans. They're like herding chickens.
Cats,
yeah, employees are humans. So that's always, that's why everything's going to AI and automated, and because that is one of the most challenging parts of a business is dealing with the employees. They all have, we all have issues.
To go along with, obviously we all have issues, and clearly I'm sure there's been plenty of pitfalls along the way, but what are some of the biggest mistakes that you can look back on that were ultimately weren't too detrimental, but were a mistake where you're okay, I got burned, or a customer burned me, an employee burned me? Or
there's been so many of them, and I don't really have a specific thing, but it could be pouring too much into an employee. You spend so much time and then boom, they're gone and leave. Or doing favors for employees. Shit, one time I bought a car for a guy. He kept calling and calling. He's like, dude, I'll take that car. Well, I get a car for a dude. On the way to drop the car off to him, he gets arrested for child support. So I never got paid for the car. And it just seems like every time you do something above and beyond for an employee, you get burned. And so as people grow in their business, and this is CEOs through everywhere, they start to do less and less. And it's not you, the employee, these are our coworkers, our friends. It's all the past things that have happened that have led me to be this way. And it's just like my golf cart down in Port Aransas. Nobody can drive my golf cart anymore. Why? Because every time I get in my golf cart, something is messed up. something is broken. In the past 6 months, since nobody's been able to drive my golf cart, nothing is messed up. Nothing is broken. And so it's the same thing. You just learn these lessons along the way of what you can and can't do, because it takes an emotional tax on you, the guy or girl at the top. It's not just them, it's me. Like, I get emotionally battered and bruised. I tell people getting up, for 2 years, getting up and going to landscape was like getting kicked in the nuts every day. And part of the only reason I could do it is because I had a lady, Evelyn, working for me that was like, it's going to be a great day, Tommy. It's going to be a great day. And so you take those little wins and carry on.
So speaking of the freedom that you have now that you're an owner of multiple business, how do you protect your time? Being an owner and like now delegating instead of like being the firefighter, if you will, putting out all these fires that come up.
Again, that's been a transition of how many fires can you fight. It's just like today, a guy asked me if I'd bring him lunch. Tommy wants to bring you lunch. I do. Tommy cannot get what I got done today by running you lunch. And I don't mean anything by it, but the answer is no. And when somebody cannot take care of the task that they need to do to move things forward, we need somebody else in that spot. So, I tell you a lot of things and you'll text me back, oh, well, you can. And it's like, yeah, I can, but I'm also the guy that pushes this ball. And so you've just got to pick and choose what you can do and what fires you can fight. I can't fight all the fires. I mean, today I was at the DMV for a few hours and it was like, I don't want to do that shit anymore. But it's kind of a relaxing day this week. This whole week for me coming up, I have scheduled to be a more relaxing week, because the past 3 weeks I've been from the bottom of Texas to the top of Texas to Louisiana to Canada, several times there and back in 3 weeks. And I needed a little break. So this is kind of my break week. We're on a spot where these hangers are kind of going where they need to be, where I don't have to be around as much. And like Daniel and I are talking about, we really pick where we can be or where we have to be. Sometimes we have to be places, but when we don't have to be, we pick where we want to be. And so this week is a easy week for me, hopefully. It's still conducting business. I'm still looking for opportunities every day. I turn over every rock that I see. I listen. I picked up a deal. I picked up that deal yesterday just by listening. That's going to equate to revenue and money in our pocket. I listen for opportunities every single day. So just because I'm having an easy week doesn't mean I'm not working. I'm never not working.
So clearly it's a balancing act as to, okay, what's going to take priority, and clearly understanding I'm like, some things I'm just not going to be able to do because I'm going to have to prioritize other things. Like last week, obviously the big priority was all three of us, because there's 3 owners, showed up at one place at one time, which is super uncommon.
That doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. And we had a meeting with all the employees at BierHaus, and let me tell you, like, several hadn't met some of us or either of us. So there were some wide eyes, to say the least, so that all 3 owners are there. And I think at some point in time, one of us said that, it's just like, this is a rare occasion. And to get all 3 of us in one room, obviously something's up. So we had to take care of that. So obviously there was a fire to put out, per se. So obviously that took precedence and we went in to handle that.
But you're talking about task delegation. And I feel that, and I could be wrong, but I feel like given my past experience with all of these meetings and saying all of these things, that I am the best person in this organization to give that meeting at that time. So that's why I was there. I drove from Port Aransas to Lubbock to give a hour meeting, and I needed it to stick, and it stuck.
Oh, I believe you me.
It stuck.
It did. And then the very next day, early in the morning, we turned right back around and drove back. But obviously realizing like how important that was and how important we needed to address the issues that were going on at BierHaus in Lubbock. So, you know, and if that's going to take precedence, like I said, BierHaus Port Aransas or Seafood Spaghetti Works is going to have to hold out for a minute until like you can put that fire out, if you will. So in between, like I said, you were on the way back home, like I said, because we rode back together, and which is approximately a 6-hour drive. You were probably wheeling and dealing on the phone with multiple people, probably a combined time of 4 hours.
Yeah.
All the way back. So you ain't quitting. So it's like when I tell people like, this guy doesn't quit. like I enjoy the drive. Very rarely do I get a call or take a call or whatever it is. Like there's always something.
Yeah.
There's always something, and you're constantly moving.
Well, we have work to do. I mean, people don't think about it, but we have over 200 mouths to feed. That means they count on us for dinner. That's a heavy thing to realize. But we pay or provide a company that puts food on their table, feeds their kids, pays their rent. So we have work to do, and I'm not going to let those people down. They might let me down, right? But I'm not going to let them down.
So is that part of the fire that is lit under you to like keep moving and tenacious and looking for more deals, is just to not only be successful yourself, but to provide for our employees and their families?
Well, I mean, for sure nowadays there's goals that I have in the business. I want health insurance for everybody since it's separate, and I think we're going to be able to accomplish that. And people have no clue how difficult that is as a business. It is not, I mean, it is hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And I want to provide that so employees have a reason to stay here. Employees, when you get stagnant and you're not growing, we lost a good employee, Matthew Wheeler, because we don't have anywhere to put him right now. And he has a drive. I want him around. I want these people to know that they have places to go and a foundation to build on. And I've hit on that before, like the foundation that we have right now as a company to grow is insane. We could do anything. We have the people there. Do we have holes in the boat? Of course. So does everybody else. But what we have right now and where we could go in the future is crazy. I mean, I've said it before, I could see us as a $100 million company. How do we get there? We keep driving. And we get there. I'm interested in franchising or licensing BierHaus. I'm tired of the gigantic buckets of money it costs for a new restaurant. We can license BierHaus and sell, give me 8%. Buy the prickly pear from us. We can make, a couple $100,000 per location doing that. We could open another restaurant in 2 years and we can fund it ourselves, or we can do that and license it. We could build airplane hangars. I mean, we could do all kinds of stuff, but you can't do it if you're not working on it.
So you've taken several risks
Huge risk.
And like massive financial risks. Like from as an outsider, even though I know what's for the most part going on the inside and what it takes now, but from it being on the outside for so long, it didn't. There was no fear. I didn't see like when I talked to you, it was like Tommy being Tommy. It's just like I'm like, oh yeah, we're buying a building, we're selling a building, we're doing this, we're opening that, and it's just kind of like very nonchalant, but risk, massive risk nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like, how do you manage that potential failure?
I guess I failed at stuff already. I've tried stuff, business ventures that didn't work out. We're sitting on a 36,000 square foot building right now. Did that kill us? No. Was it fun? No. But we got through it. It's under contract. I think it's going to sell pretty soon. We've taken longer to pay a couple things that we thought would pan out better. I have a good relationship with every single one that has done business with me, and would continue to do business. So we just keep showing up and we don't give up.
So is it the fact that you have that experience of prior failures that I'm like, okay, that failed. What's the lesson?
I mean, we failed at a bar that we did. Nobody showed up. We spent a shit ton of money. It was in the wrong place. Our gut instinct on this stuff was wrong, but we didn't skip a beat. We just didn't. And now, we know it took two of them because we went into that little town in Olton and spent money and tried to do that.
The turnaround.
Yeah. And we know that if a business is not doing $2 to $3 million a year, we're not going to give it a shot because it's not worth our time. And for those listening, it takes the same amount of work to run a coffee shop that does $30,000 a month as it does to run a restaurant that does $350,000 a month. There's no difference. You're ordering the same food, the same drink. You have a schedule for your employees. You have insurance. You have maintenance. It's all the same shit. And I realized that when we came from Beer Garden doing $15,000 to $35,000 a month, and then we go to BierHaus and we're doing $350,000 a month. I said, well, shit. This is the same thing. And that comes back to location, location, location. Where are you going to put your roots? Put them where you have the opportunity for success. And so I don't want to fail on anything. Now our failures can be covered by our success, but it's still not easy. And it feels good when you hit a home run or you hit a double. It feels good when you look at your numbers and they're doing good. It feels good when you don't have to think about payroll this week, which for several years, all the time I've thought about payroll. And some weeks recently, for several years, I don't really think about payroll, but it's there. I don't think about the mortgage. It's there. But if you focus on it, I mean, if I looked at the mortgage for one of these restaurants, I came from being a kid where I had to borrow money to buy lunch. If I look at a mortgage that's $15,000 or $25,000, I still feel like I make $500 a week. So it's all relative, but just bury it back there and you keep on trucking.
So we've grown and expanded pretty quickly. I mean, it's been 8 years, but in that 8-year time frame, there's been several additional businesses.
Imagine where we'll be in another 10.
I could only imagine. But how do you balance growth with and protect the assets that we do have and continue the cash flow?
Well, I mean, you forecast what has been coming in historically based on all of your numbers that you've been doing, and then you predict what the future is holding, which is sometimes scary. I mean, the past year for restaurants, year and a half, has been wild ride the past 2 years. So how do you manage that? You hold on and you cut and you adjust. It's a daily thing. We have gotten rid of so much fat in the past 2 years. And this conversation started 2 years ago in the car with Daniel, with me writing everything that's going out on a piece of paper, everything. Long piece of paper. All right, we're going to attack this. Boom. We're going to attack this. Boom. We're going to attack this. And it took we said, this is 3 years. We're driving down the road going, motherfucker, this is 3 years. Well, 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, we're like, hey, this shit's gone. Hey, this shit's gone. Hey, this is gone. Well, it's been 2 years, and you know how much of that is gone? A shitload of it. We're preparing ourselves now, because of how lean we are, to be killers in the next couple years. If the market goes back to where it was 2 years ago and we're sitting how we are now, we will have so much excess cash. I'll find places to spend it.
Well, that leads to my next question. So, I mean, seeing that we extended ourselves and have seen some thin winters.
Yeah.
Now that we're getting out ahead of it and slowly have weathered the storm, if you will.
It was a storm.
Obviously, there's going to be opportunities. Do you have a process as to how you look at a deal and determine whether it's worth the while? I know you mentioned earlier, like if it's not making X amount of money, that's not worth it.
I look at deals and see what type of cash I think they're going to spit off. What is the opportunity, cost of this deal? What is the opportunity for it to pan out? Not only this year, we're going to be able to pay for it every month. Is it going to cash flow? Or are we going to be losing money? I mean, we've been losing money in Paint Rock for 2 years, and we won't be in another month. And what does it look like in 5 years? Is it something we can sell? Is it a real estate thing that we could sell that business and have tenants paying us rent? Because ultimately, that's kind of my goal, is to have tenants in all these restaurants that I own paying us rent forever. And that'll take care of us. We'll sell it for millions of dollars and have tenants paying us a nice paycheck for us to be on a shredder at the ranch mowing grass, or at the airport mowing grass.
So obviously there's a bunch of variables, but obviously it has to be generating income, potentially be able to own the real estate that the business sits on, not just because for people that don't know or that are watching and that aren't in the business, sometimes it's just because you can buy a business doesn't mean that land comes with it.
Right.
So obviously that's the idea. I think McDonald's is one of the biggest landowners, real estate owners. It's like they don't own the McDonald's, they just own the land that the McDonald's sits on, and they collect money on it. So obviously that would be the big long-term.
I need to collect about $1 million a year when I'm retired.
Is that it?
That's all. That's all. And
so have you run the numbers? Like, what's it going to take? And I'm sure you have.
It'll work.
I'm sure you're in bed on your phone playing with numbers. Like, okay, we need to have
it'll work.
5 beer houses and 3 more seafood and spaghetti works and 10 Paint Rock coffees, and we're generating X amount.
That'll work. And that's a crazy thing, is these numbers, when I started mowing grass, you're making 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 a month. And now it's, many months, way over $1 million. It'll work. You just got to keep working on it. It's a process.
Oh, I understand it's a process. So with that expansion, obviously, comes more issues and more problems.
Bring them on.
More headaches and setbacks. And I think lawsuits
Those are fun too.
are some of those things that maybe people don't even think about. Like, oh, I only own a flower shop or a coffee shop.
Yeah.
You know, like, why do I need to worry about a lawsuit?
Tell
Like,
us how you got sued about the dog from the dog that bit somebody at your restaurant that you didn't know the owner. So I mean, that's just, dude. We haven't got any in the past 6-8 months, and last year was a little rough. But that's the kind of shit that, you know, you got insurance for it. It just kind of sucks, and you do the best you can. But those are a part of life as a business owner. And there's a lot of shady people that will walk into your business and they're looking to get something. I mean, it's just, it sucks, but it is what it is.
I mean, I think that's unfortunate, the part of doing business.
It is.
You know, you got to pay to play to a degree at times. And like I said, I'm a big dog lover. And
I hate not having the dogs on the patio at BierHaus. It sucks.
And it was a big deal. I remember having to post that on our social media for both Miguel's and BierHaus. And it's unfortunate that we can't. And it's just, at that point, it's a business risk.
Sucks.
It's a financial decision, unfortunately. You know, if we knew that it would be a non-issue, then, you know, yeah, we'd have 100 dogs on the patio.
It was a non-issue, and we got dogs on patios in Lubbock. And I remember meeting you at a place in Austin with a dog sitting behind us, and you had just been on a travel up north in the U.S., and I was telling you, I'm going to council to get dogs on patios legal in Lubbock. And we spearheaded it. And then we get sued and we have to fucking cancel it. It's just stupid. I should just tell them, fuck you, we want dogs on the patio.
So that, I mean, I guess is a setback. I mean, whether it was a significant setback or not. Have there been any other setbacks in the time that you've
There's daily setbacks as a business owner. When I went to open my drawer, my earplugs weren't in there, so I could blow out the hanger earlier, and an employee had taken them. It was a setback. When I go there and the place is a mess, it's a setback. Being your own boss is like having somebody in your damn bedroom every single day messing up your shit. That's why you protect the couple places that you have on your own. I mean, God, it's a party sometimes.
And I understand that, like, you enjoy your alone time, maybe, to a degree. I know you like going to the ranch. You like going to Port A. You like getting away. How important is that for you, or maybe for someone that same business, to like, I got to get away from it?
Dude, I just think as a business owner, and right now, every corner I turn, I am bombarded with questions. And that's I used to tell people, you want to be a good business owner? All you're doing is solving people's problem all day. That's all you do. And so now, instead of solving their problem, I say, well, give me 2 or 3 options. What would you do? Because I'm tired of thinking. And at the end of the day, my brain is fried. So now, and it took a lot of stress off to just turn around. Well, what do you think the best answer is in this situation? All right, it's a good one. Go do it. Thank you. But the alone time, the time with my kids, time flying, it is. I mean, because there's some days the phone just doesn't stop, and I don't drink, I don't smoke pot, and I don't eat gummies. It's fucking all here. I deal with all of it. So I don't have any habits to get away. I mean, it's just, I feel like some time on the road helps a little bit to relax, and throwing the ball with Lando, Lincoln, running around with Kylie, that kind of shit is going to the casino, gambling. I think I'm going to fly there soon. I had a good time.
So clearly there's always issues. There's always setbacks. And you've named your podcast Business Under Fire. What is like a moment or multiple moments that you've had that where you've been under fire and it's just like what do I got? Or like, how am I going to handle this situation? Like this shit sandwich I got to fucking eat. Like
that's called the winter blues that we have at the restaurant. When you're like, the graduation is December 15th in Lubbock, just so you don't know. So you get a shit pot of money, right? Well, January 15th, it's all run out. And so I was like, wow, where am I gonna get a loan from this month? And so we don't want to go there anymore, but we've done that twice and it sucked. So that time we were definitely on fire, but that's why we do the podcast, so all these people can find out, that this shit is normal with everybody in business, and it's tough, but I'm ready to wrap up. It's been 2 hours. I don't even know. What time is it?
It is 10 till 10 o'clock.
Holy shit.
You've just been talking
You're
away.
supposed to, I know time flies. Did you know it's 2 hours?
No.
The people across the table never know, but I'm always watching this shit.
Oh, you got a timer.
Yeah,
Okay.
but before I go, I always, number one, if you skipped over this or you fell asleep listening to the podcast, shame on you. But if you are listening to the podcast, shoot me out a message on Facebook that says, hey, Tommy, man, I've been listening. Awesome. Shoot me a text. Let me know. If you do need any business coaching, we do that super cheap. It's like $250 to come hang out for a few hours. And the people that we have worked with, dude, have had incredible success with what they've learned. We turned a real estate guy into a Harvard educated school of negotiation real estate guy. Dude, fucking master. And that's because they offer these courses. So he went and took the courses. Now he has a certificate that he's Harvard School of Negotiation certificate. Why would you not choose that realtor over another realtor? Because when it's time to negotiate as a realtor, that's when the rubber meets the road. That's when they need to earn their money. Not a pretty face trying to sell a fucking house. But so if you have anybody that wants to be on the podcast, I need some guys. I can find them. I've been finding them for a year now. I kind of slacked up, so I need to find a guest or two. I'd love to hear their story. I've been going through these notes. Angela Twittero, the lady that makes uniforms for cheerleaders all over the world. Dude, it was wonderful. She's a boss. We had Clint Fiore on here, a business broker, telling people how to go buy a business. Ernest Cervantes on here, just all kinds of fantastic people. I want to share their story with the people that are listening to Business Under Fire. And if you're wondering how Business Under Fire is doing, well, it performs in the top 20% of podcasts in the US, which is fucking crazy because we started this not even knowing how this would go. And some of the YouTube views might only get 100, 200, 300 views, but the listens and the downloads, some of these clips have hit hundreds of thousands of people. And if you come on here and you're a guest and they hear one thing that you say that changes the direction of where they're going, you did your job sharing your story. And I want to hear your story and I want to hear it. So please, if you have a guest, get them on here. Have them reach out. I text back right away. I'm easy to find. What else do we have about the podcast? I always ask people what advice would they give their 20-year-old self. My advice to you is not to give up. Keep learning. Keep turning over those rocks. Don't quit. Go after whatever you want. I never thought I'd be in a freaking several $1 million jet at 40,000 feet looking out the window as pilot in command of this thing. And you can too, whether it's, whatever you want it to be. So don't give up. Keep chasing your dreams. Always show up. Just show up. Whatever the next step is on your goal, just show up. Whatever it may be. And don't quit.
I think I heard something recently. I wish I remember what it was. It's just like keep working.
Yeah.
And quit tomorrow.
And
when tomorrow comes, quit tomorrow.
Yeah.
So in other words, just keep moving and don't quit.
One day at a time, like a drunk.
Because this is, I mean, a great studio. It's not, surely it's not the best studio in the podcast business.
Yeah.
But to go from what it was, an empty space 10 months ago,
Yeah.
to being in the top 20% of podcasts, and sharing your knowledge, and then being able to make contact with so many other different business owners and hear their story and their struggles and their successes. And just to hear your story is just, again, mind blowing. Like when people talk about the American dream, it's just like, you got a kid that, you know, grew up on welfare and started mowing lawns, made a decision to like, okay, this is the route I'm going. But you didn't stick to just mowing lawns, you know, and just little by little started dabbling in different things. And, you know, 25 years later, here you are again in a jet, 40,000 feet flying. You know, I'm going to fly to my business on the coast, my house on the coast. I'm going to go to North Texas, and we're going to go down to the ranch. And it's just having, you know, sticking to it and not quitting and becoming a success in your own right is awesome. So when you say these things, I hope people really hear that, that it truly is possible. And it sounds cliche at times, but it's just like, if I could show people the Tommy Bonner that I met at 20 years old, there's no way I would have gotten in business with you. Yeah. There's no way. Like, you weren't a bad person, you know, but it's just, you were a guy that liked drinking, liked fighting.
I want to fight. That'd
you
be
know,
good.
And just like, you know, if I'm going into an alley, I'm taking Tommy with me.
No fighting anymore. I always have fun telling the college kids, like, if you wanted to fight, I'm down. Let's go. But not anymore. Too old. Too much to lose. So just not fighting anymore. But 20-year-old Tommy, man, let's go.
And that's just, and it's crazy to think. I'm like, looking back and thinking back to that time, I'm like, that, and I think we were sitting at Miguel's this last week, and I made the comment, I'm like, remember when we met? Like, not in a million years did we think we'd be 25 years later, we're going to be sitting at a bar that we owned on a Tuesday night, whatever day it was, and just like in Lubbock, Texas.
And my story on that is, I tell everybody, if you would have asked me, Tommy, do you think a UFO is going to land in your front yard, or do you think you're going to have a bar in Lubbock, Texas on Broadway? I would have bet you the UFO would have landed on my front yard 10 years ago. Crazy.
It's been a heck of a ride. And I'm again, thank you for the opportunity to hit you with some questions tonight. Yeah. And again, thank you for the opportunity to be your business partner, because it's been a hell of a ride.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And it's I don't even know where it's going to keep going, but it's
going to keep going.
And I'm looking forward to what's to come.
It's going to keep going. I don't know where it's going yet, but I've enjoyed it. Working with you has been fun. The past year's been fun watching you come out of Zamora was a security guard in Austin. He's actually a cop, to coming into this mess and seeing all of it. But it's been wild. But to the listeners out there, if y'all want to keep the podcast going, I promised you 52. I'd been getting asked to do one with me getting the questions. So here it is. I need about 10 more of you guests. I would love to do them. And then after the 52, I don't know what's going to happen. I need this podcast to reach people that call me a little bit more, so I don't have to hustle as much. I am enjoying it. I've enjoyed meeting everybody that has come on here. I appreciate every single person that has come on here. The listeners, for those don't know, it's taking time. They got to pull up, drive over here. And so I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. But I'm going to wrap it up. This is the longest podcast we've ever done. I don't know how long to keep them going. You know, I usually stop them at 1:15. I don't know how long to keep them going. I could keep asking these guys questions forever. So send me some feedback on that, guys. If y'all want it longer, shorter, if you want me to just quit and hang up my hat and mow grass, let me hear it. It's not going to bother me. We get reviewed every day about how our restaurants are with 5-star reviews or 1-star reviews. But I can assure you one thing, this next year, our operations, our restaurants, we're working on them harder than we ever have, and they're going to be better than they ever have. The food coming out of them, the service coming out of them. If you don't have a good experience at our restaurant this coming year, text me. I need to know about it, but I'm aiming for the moon. If you go to Seafood and Spaghetti Works in Port Aransas, Texas, that plate of food that comes out, it hits your mouth, is going to be the best you have ever had. Best Italian food, crab cakes. We are aiming for the moon over there, and that is my goal for this next year, is to have those restaurants and coffee shops running like a fucking sewing machine. So it's good to be able to focus our time, energy, and effort into the operations instead of into growth. We have not been able to do that for years. So if you think it's been good, that thing's been running with a fucking low tire. It's the truth. It's the truth. And so I look forward to hearing from you guys on your experiences at our restaurants. If you are looking for any business consults, let me know. I'd like to meet with you guys and come up with a game plan on what you're doing. But it's 10:15-ish. That's time for me. We were live on Facebook. Who knows how that even went? That was the first time we've ever done that. But if you made it through this whole 2 hours, thank you very much for watching.
I appreciate it.
We
Thanks, guys.
appreciate it. So that ends this show.
Thanks for watching Business Under Fire. We'd love it if you would share, like, and subscribe. See you next time.